Let's see how this is gonna go. I didn't want to show any more Blood Moon. This is the second Blood Moon I've done off camera. You can see all my buffs. Hopefully you can see everything. There was a little bit of a black screen at times with a couple of the... at the start of a couple of the previous videos. I think it's fine if I do a test recording and it never happens every subsequent recording. But anyway, this is the mini boss you can fish up during a Blood Moon. I've basically been farming, listening to people play Slay the Spire 2, and occasionally taking a break and playing the original Slay the Spire myself. I'm kind of on the bandwagon. It's fun. I don't think it's fundamentally better, but anyway. Deck building roguelikes are a whole other topic I don't want to get into right now. Here goes nothing. Has some pretty cool projectiles. I got the golden shower, and I'm hoping that'll be good enough with my whip and these summons. Okay, it doesn't hit too hard, but it has these summons of its own. I'm not a fan of how it runs into you when it does that. It's supposed to just orbit around you and limit your movement, which I don't mind as an idea, but... yeah, it's actually kind of cool. This is fairly new enemy design, the Dreadnautilus. Come here, damn you. Uh-oh. Oh no. He got me. I guess I'll try again. That's totally doable. And because I'm on a higher difficulty, killing the Dreadnautilus at all will give me the item I want, guaranteed. Screw that and that and get me over here. Oh, but I need my buffs. Damn it all, damn it all. There will be a lot of other stuff I need to take care of after this. Set up my sentries. They're pretty good, all things considered. I'll only buff myself if it shows up. Alright, I don't have a sonar potion anymore. I also killed a couple of other enemies. There's the hemoglobin shark, which is it's a zombie that's ridiculously aggressive and fast, and has a projectile attack similar to the Dreadnautilus. As well as the blood eel, which is a shorter and much faster moving wyvern. Like the ones I fought. Was it last video? Anyway. It's all a blur now. I've still been playing that Zenith world. Here's the hemoglobin shark. Actually a little annoyed with how fast he is. If I'm too far away from him, he'll do the projectile attack. I think that's how it works. Maybe if I'm above him or something, I'm not sure. Maybe it's random. Or maybe hitting him stops him from doing it. Sort of like the pirate captain. He didn't drop anything, of course not. To be fair, the other drops from these hard mode Blood Moon enemies aren't really relevant for me anyway. Well, speaking of Slay the Spire from earlier, I beat... I just realized I should ignore the enemies I don't care about and just hope to fish up the Dreadnautilus. That's all that matters anyway. Anyway, I got the Dreadnautilus on camera, so now if I can just beat it, which is going to take a little bit of doing, it'll be good. I got this weapon. I forget if it was from a hemoglobin shark or the eel. It might have been the eel. It seems fairly decent. It's a flail. But it's a powerful flail. I don't know why I had the stupid beam sword. It's terrible. I never should have bothered using it. It didn't help me in the least. Okay, yeah, there's just like 2 seconds left. Yeah, there's no point. Don't need the fast clocks. I guess I'm still hoarding the fish, just in case. Okay, down to business now. Oh, I got 2 more money tros. That's funny, actually. I got this cool painting of the Nautilus. Yeah, a Nautilus. Just like that game I tested. I almost forgot about that. While I was fishing, I got advanced combat techniques. It buffs all the villagers, and I might as well. You can only use that once. For some reason, they added a bunch of permanent upgrade items at some point. Could I do a quick quest? Underground Hallow. I don't really do angler quests on camera. There isn't really a good place to do it. Nah, screw that. Okay, so a few things. One of the fishing quests gave me fin wings, but I had already made frozen wings and blew all my gold to try and get them with a good modifier. And I realize now that the wings probably would have helped me a little bit with the Nautilus. When visibility's off, the wings are only visible when you're flying. If I switch it on, you can see them. I think that looks alright. My only problem with wings is their up and down acceleration kind of sucks, but the flight is useful. When you run out of flight time, you can glide. You can hold down to descend faster. I think it should be fine. And rather than get rid of this thing, I'm actually going to combine it with the horseshoe. Could have done this before. Probably should have done this before. Ooh, what's with this slowdown? Am I blind? No, there it is. The white horseshoe balloon. So in case I change my mind, I could use that again. I don't know. Ah, I'm getting mentally locked up for some reason. I went into the Underground Crimson and farmed a ton of Souls of Night. Okay, I do say the word ton a lot. It's a large amount. I think it makes sense. And in the process, I killed a... what was it called? A Crimson Mimic. Which is like a big mini-boss mimic that I'm going to demonstrate. But it gave me a hook, which I think is better than this hook. The pirate is an NPC that arrives after you beat the pirate invasion. I don't think he really sells much that I care about. For some reason, wings don't show you any stats. So, good luck figuring out which pair of wings is better statistically. A lot of mods add those in, which, to be fair, why can't you see the stats? It's kind of silly. I have this music box here because Algol asked me nicely to do something for him, and I realized you can't fight Torch God again if you've already have the Torch God's Favor in your inventory, or you've already used the Torch God's Favor. But since I'm doing that Zenith world, and I still didn't have the Torch God's Favor there, I gave that character a music box so that she could capture the music track for Torch God. Since I always get the Torch God's Favor, I don't think I ever would have thought of doing this. Because you need to get to hard mode to get the music box to be able to record the music, and you can only record the music if you haven't beaten Torch God already. Well, beaten, you know what I mean. But apparently there's an Easter egg, I assume, if I shimmer this music box. So I'll do that before carrying on. Oh, yeah. Alt Torch God music. Okay. What does that sound like? This is the first time I've ever used a music box, by the way. You buy it from the wizard, you equip it, and it has a chance of transforming into a music box for whatever music is currently playing. So you want to equip it during the track that you want to record. I think it's a little cumbersome. I would rather just listen to the soundtrack online. And Terraria's music isn't really a noteworthy soundtrack in my opinion. It's fine. There are some nice tracks, some atmospheric stuff. Like, I don't mind the music down here. Anyway, what does this sound like? That's what it sounded like when I fought it, right? While I'm waiting, I'll grab this. Ah. It's just decorative. Verse 2, I guess? Okay, I think I get the gist. I am the torch god. Okay. I appreciate that. Actually, that can stay down here. In between these trees, I guess. I hope my audio is good enough. I think I was a bit quieter than the audio in some videos, so I think that came through pretty well. Full props for that one, Relogic. That's a pretty great Easter egg. Really well hidden too. Oh yeah, I already have a map. Since I'm looking at this, the fast clock in the trifold map is the plan. And I think I mentioned this before, each of these accessories combines with one other specific accessory, and then 5 groups of 2 combine into one, and then I'll make the shield, yada yada. I'm repeating myself. So, my only note was to do the torch god thing, so there we are. I neglected to do something. I meant to fish in the jungle for jungle crates. So I guess now I'll just get the other part, hopefully. There's a way of fighting the mimics without having to wait for them to spawn, which is to use 15 of a soul to make a key of night, in this case, is what I want. The key of night will turn a chest into the mimic. Since I have crimson, it'll be the crimson one. So, throw it in, and the moment I close this inventory, there it is. So I killed one of these things. They have a few different attack patterns. It's actually one of the most sophisticated AI routines for an enemy. I have that stomp. That's all it's doing. You can just charge at you repeatedly and quickly. Has a distance closing attack that can track you any distance. And it has its own loot table of various weapons. I don't have ammo for the dart pistol. I think the dart pistol is good, but apparently they nerfed it, which I don't really understand. I haven't heard of dart pistols being broken ranged weapons. Oh yeah, and I don't know if I ever mentioned there's a new NPC here, the party girl. Oh, that's adorable. Even when I talked to her earlier, I didn't pay attention to that. And I noticed a painting that depicts her on a unicorn, so I figured I'd put it in here. She just sells a bunch of decorative stuff. Ah, yeah, this is both a desert and a hallow, so she sells both pylons. Makes sense. I do believe that was the case before they changed how selling pylons works. There's a random event if you have a party girl, which is throwing a party. All the NPCs have party hats. In some cases, they replace their hats with party hats. Like, I think the Diet Trader replaces his turban with a party hat, though I forget what exactly he looks like. But during a party, if you talk to the party girl, you get a slice of cake, which is a buff station. It gives you 20% increased movement and mining speed for 2 minutes. I have no idea why it's limited to 2 minutes. You can just keep this thing on you and constantly refresh this buff, so it's practically unlimited. I think that's a huge oversight. Maybe if there was a cooldown, like once the 2 minutes run out, and you wouldn't be able to refresh the buff while it's still active, then you, like, let's say a sugar crash, you can't use the buff for like 5 minutes or something. Then it would make sense, but as is. It's one of those things that I didn't know was in the game because the party girl is not a top priority for me, but that slice of cake is literally the only practically useful thing she gives you as far as I'm aware. So I guess I'll hold on to that. I might as well just keep it in my inventory, honestly. But I'm at a bit of an impasse here. Do I attempt... There's a lot of things to do, and I felt like recording just because the blood Nautilus showed up. But now, do I just want to try again? I mean, the sun's about to set. What the hell? Maybe I could yap about Slay the Spire or something. In spite of the fact that I don't have a particularly lofty view of Slay the Spire, I keep playing it. Even though I think it could handle its difficulty settings way better than it does. It's just statistical increases that make the game strictly harder. And like I said, in a turn-based game, the breakpoints for killing enemies change, and it's not necessarily bad to boost enemy stats. Like when enemies deal more damage, and you... Oh, there's one thing I could show up before I get lost in this, so hold that thought. This build. This is the most effort I've put into building something in quite a while. This is pearl wood for the platforms and the furniture and the doors. This is all the golden furniture I got from... Oh, a sink is a crafting station. Oh, because there's water there, I get it. And if I fight pirates again, I might put even more gold furniture in here. This is for a specific NPC. I have a plan. Like, this is a wizard tower. When I have money to spare, I'll put a crystal ball on that table. Which the crystal ball gives an infinite duration buff for mages. Oh, when did I get so much gold? What the hell? For decorative purposes. Now the wizard can ponder his orb. I believe it's mana regen, magic damage, max mana. Yeah, I have 220 because it gives you plus 20 max mana. It's good, but I'm not a mage. The first floor is like a bar with... Oh, I didn't even have to use a bloody tear. Okay. I won't waste any time. I again want sonar potion. Oh, it's a blood moon, full moon. Fair enough. Ideally, I kill the blood Nautilus. Or the Dreadnautilus. That's its actual official name. And then I can fight Queen Slime confidently. At some point, I accidentally said Queen Bee when I meant Queen Slime. I wonder if anyone caught that. I did. I think it's worth it to kill the easier enemies. Oh. Yeah, I don't need... We're far past vampire frogs at this point. I forgot to place my sentries. That's why the enemies are overwhelming me. Since it's a full moon, I could end up killing 2 birds with 1 stone and get the accessory from the werewolves. When it comes to obscure luck mechanics, it occurs to me I can do something right here. I have ladybugs on me because if you run into a ladybug, it gives you a temporary luck buff that's invisible. I guess the idea is that you would end up running into ladybugs during a windy day, so you would accidentally be increasing your luck. I'm pretty sure the wiki says that it increases your luck, because if you kill a ladybug, that nerfs your luck. Which I guess is one reason to have the critter companionship guide on you. So as I was saying, enemies dealing more damage in Slay the Spire, for example, the cards you have that block damage still have the same values. Here's a Blood Eel just for posterity's sake. And after this I will not fish up any enemy that isn't... I'll fish up the smaller ones so I can get chum buckets, and I'm also looking for a specific item that can make this whole process faster, which is a fishing pole that has a higher chance of fishing up Blood Moon enemies. Yeah. For what it's worth, I do like how fast this thing moves. Ah, nothing. So, let's say the cards that used to block all the damage you would take before don't work anymore. Oh, that's nice. So you have to invest more in blocks so that you don't die. That's okay, but there's a limit to how much stats can do for a game on higher difficulties, even when they have more of an interesting effect in a turn-based game. Because once the breakpoints have been crossed once or twice, I think you start entering the realm of tedium anyway. I would personally like Slay the Spire 2 to have ascension effects that drastically change how enemies work. I'm talking give enemies more unique passive abilities they didn't have before. Oh. Moon Charm. That's what I was looking for from the werewolves. It'll be a while before I can really take advantage of it, though. It's kind of endgame. And I'm honestly questioning if it's worth it. I'm gonna have to check the wiki for the stats again. It's another one of those items that does a lot of small things, and it just says, increases all stats. But which stats, and by how much? I think this is the last time you'll see this on camera. And if need be, I'll do it off camera. What I've already done off camera has been kind of boring. It's basically what you see here. Times 3. Now, maybe this comparison will annoy fans of Slay the Spire, if you happen to be watching this for some reason. But I have always been more fond of Rogue Book, which is a very similar game, obviously influenced by Slay the Spire, from the developers of Terraria. Terraria is one of the only collectible card games, especially of the digital variety, that I actually like. And I quite like specifically Rogue Book's difficulty system because it changes how the game works. There's a whole complicated map system where there's a linear path to the boss and a couple of fights in your way, but you can also explore off the beaten path in a hexagrid map to find more fights and more loot before you face the boss of the Rogue Book equivalent of an act, right? I quite like that system, but for instance, there's an effect that says there is no path to the boss, and if you run out of resources and you're unable to reach the boss, you lose. So that's a difficulty modifier for the exploration portion of the game. There are also difficulty modifiers for combat. One of them that I remember quite clearly is all enemies gain strength every turn. So there's an inherent effectively a time limit, because eventually any enemy will get so strong that it just punches through all of your defense and kills you. So there's time pressure in every single fight, and enemies are obviously stronger across the board. I was not ready. If I can do this, I will be very happy. I'm damaging it pretty well. I think the particle effects on the projectiles are excessive. It's hard to tell where they are exactly. Oh, wow. At least the glow helps a little bit. But if it was no particle effects and the glow, that would be ideal. Do those things aim ahead of you? Oh my god. For the record, I don't think I'm that underpowered. I'm pretty sure that... Are you supposed to beat Queen Slime first? Ah. Oh, that's a lot of loot. But I'm pretty sure you're supposed to do this around now. I don't know, maybe I'm a little stupid here. Let this be an example. Just because you played a game for thousands of hours doesn't mean that you're an expert. And who knows, my playtime might be inflated, right? That's why I block off the doors. Okay, well, the night's almost over. Oh, you can't speed it up, huh? That does make sense, actually, yeah. Who can sleep while this carnage is going on? Clowns... Oh, I have a whole thing to say about clowns. One of the most memorable moments I had playing Terraria was back before the clowns were what they are now. They only appear during a blood moon in hard mode, right? Can sell the rest of these. I don't need duplicates. And right now they just toss bombs that can hit you really hard, and they summon those chattering teeth bombs that... They're like destructible homing explosives. They are enemies, but in practice that's what they are. It used to be that the clowns threw actual bombs. Like these types of bombs that can destroy tiles. So they could grief you like creepers in Minecraft. There was one time where me and a friend had set up, like, imagine there's a room here, and there are platforms above where enemies can walk. So a clown jumped in, threw a bomb, and then jumped out through the platforms above and left. And he destroyed the entire room. That ninja clown is going to forever live in my memory. That was amazing. Of course, they got rid of the clowns that can blow up your base so that you wouldn't get griefed. But I don't know. There's no reason you should be in your base during a blood moon, I don't think. And yeah, if they blow up the world, that's kind of annoying, but I say big deal. Just redesign the clowns so that you can stop them from ever throwing bombs in the first place, or destroy the bombs before they can blow up the tiles. Because now there's nothing distinctive about those enemies. The guide hasn't arrived yet. Maybe I should just leave a pet in here. In case... Oh wait, there is a pet, so now I can go over here. Although I didn't miss any drops, so it's fine. I think high velocity projectiles that aim ahead of you when you're dealing with momentum and inertia is kind of excessive. Like, the only reason the Dreadnautilus is hard is because those enemies hit... I think they deal 3 times as much damage as the Nautilus itself. I'll need to come back to that off camera. You get the gist. I think now that I have wings and more buffs and a better whip, maybe I can beat Queen Slime the way... it just feels like I'm rehashing the same thing, but... oh well. I got even more black lenses, which is actually kind of nice. Because you can make sunglasses, which would usually be a waste for the sake of a vanity item. But there is an achievement associated with wearing sunglasses while there's a bright sun in the sky. I think it changes the sun to resemble what it was in the earliest version of Terraria, so yeah, free achievement. Actually, I'm leaving the sunglasses on. Screw it, why not? I'll try again. Maybe I could use this thing. It seems decent enough, even though I'm not a warrior. I could even summon her right here. Wait, did I? Yeah, I do have gravitation potions. How are my potion reserves in here? They're fine. Here goes nothing. Right, she can do that. I could maybe try staying closer to the ground. It could be that my earlier approach was just wrong. But you can see how out of hand these ads can get. I think especially the bouncing projectiles are just absurd. And there's some of those projectiles are so tiny, especially when I have a bunch of stuff going on. It's just hard to see what's dangerous. No, I'm definitely gonna have to do my gravitation shenanigans. Wait, what? Oh, more ads. I was wondering what the hell hit me there. I mean, this could work given enough time. It's definitely quite silly, though. Yeah, those guys are still tailing me. What the hell? The fact that the mini-map isn't flipped upside down is kind of tripping me up. Yeah, this'll work. It's lame, but I feel I have no choice. I seem to remember that there was a Calamity mod boss with the same exact problem where the ads are so oppressive that even keeping them on screen is a bad idea. Come to think of it, Vanilla Terraria has that problem. Why would you let a boss stay on screen and be a threat when you can not do that? Okay. Please? Yes! No farming necessary. That's exactly what I wanted. What a relief. And before I show and set up my build using this thing, I will toss one of these slime balloons into the shimmer, which gets you another pet. Otherwise, these are pretty useless. The Hook of Dissonance is... It's kind of cool that it instantly teleports you to the block, but I've never gotten used to that. In theory, it could be a really good hook, I think. Its range is... I'll use it. It's about time. So, very low summon damage on the Blade Staff, but the strength is that you have extremely accurate minions that ignore a lot of enemy defense. And I think... Is Eager a good modifier? I actually don't know the exact defensive stats of enemies, so it's going to be kind of a mess, maybe. As if this video isn't enough of a mess already, I'm all over the place. The Crystal Assassin gear is kind of cool. It gives you a dash, so I guess that could free up an accessory slot if you use it. But I think you replace this gear pretty fast, so it's kinda pointless. It technically gives boosts relevant to every class, but a lot of it is crit, and summoners can't crit. So I think there's absolutely no point in me trying to use that. I'll keep the tendon hook in case I decide I hate this thing. And those are cheap, but I just want to get rid of them. Okay, so where's the goblin? He was here. Might as well check the traveling merchant. I have that. Haha, portal. This magic hat is another thing that you can use with a wizard robe for a set bonus. Along with Tim's hat is the other one. Oh, this frickin' thing. At some point they added these, oh, I forget what they were called. The light guns for the NES, right? It escapes me at this moment. Their magic weapons and their projectiles are really messed up. Sometimes they're garbage, other times they do way too much damage for no good reason, and that was kind of the idea. But I remember some people talking about how it's ridiculous that you can just abuse this mage weapon and roll the dice until it just melts a boss all of a sudden. If I wasn't strapped for cash, well, I just got some. I could maybe mess with this. I'm not sure if it's still... Maybe there were two versions of it. An okay version. Yeah, it might be broken. They definitely did that on purpose. But I think there was a version that was even more ridiculous. Oh yeah, this thing's relatively cheap, so... Maybe I could get a decent modifier on it. I wonder if they were clever enough to have the new mechanic with the goblin detect the best modifier for items that can't get the usual best modifier. Focused. I feel like I could have rolled one of the best if it was possible at this point. Oh, never mind. So eager is one of the best. I guess I'd rather have way more armor penetration than... Okay. About the Ichor debuff, I'm pretty sure that if you're ignoring all of the enemy's defense, I think this debuff can take the defense into the negatives. So it effectively gives you damage. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. But don't quote me on it. Anyway, get these spiders out of my face. That's what these things look like. And if I can find some enemies... For instance, is there anything I would want to farm? Actually, I did want to fight more of the mimics, so... Am I blind? Yes, I am. When looking back at the footage, there were instances where I was looking for an item. It was on screen for several seconds at a time, and I just didn't see it. Ooh, they're kind of loud. I might... Yeah, it seems like the kind of thing that would drown me out. But they hit rapidly, they don't miss. They're amazing, and I love them. I forget if they were changed at any point. When I get accessories and bonuses that... Oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. I need to see against other enemies, because that particular enemy has very loud sound when you hit it. So the Titan Glove and another item I don't have yet, and the Flesh Knuckles, I can make a really good accessory that supports whips specifically, as well as melee weapons. So that's what that's all about. It also gives you 8 defense, which is kind of amazing. Especially considering I'm not a warrior, and yet I'll get an item that has one of the best just base stat bonuses. That's the first hard mode boss. Now, what else can I do in preparation for the mechanical bosses? Because they're the first thing I really want to take out. If I ever decide to farm more off camera, which I think I would have to, I would start recording when there's a sandstorm in the desert. I could have seen a sandstorm in pre-hard mode, but it didn't happen. And I don't know the conditions. It has nothing to do with the rain. It would make sense if a windy day caused the sandstorm, but I feel like I was here when it was a windy day elsewhere, and there wasn't a sandstorm. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I am still committed to the hybrid mage and summoner set, the forbidden armor. And I think if I don't want the summon from the pirate invasion, that's kind of all there is. I suppose all the gelatin crystals I gathered were an instance of Murphy's Law. I was just expecting the worst, that I would have to kill Queen Slime 10 times to get the damn thing, and I got it right away. But hey, pessimism leaves you pleasantly surprised. What am I forgetting? Nothing much, I just have to fight the mechanical bosses, but spider armor? Really? Maybe forbidden armor's kind of a trap. I'm very indecisive. I can just abandon everything I've committed to at a moment's notice. It's nighttime. I have the buffs. I have gravitation potions. What the hell? The only question is, do I have the right summon item? Yes, I do. Okay. I talked myself into it. And I think this should be really good with these summons. And if I change my mind, I can fight the Dreadnautilus off camera after doing more prep work and switch to that summon weapon. I mean, I have 3 bloody tears right here. I could totally try that. Okay. Here goes nothing. These are the twins. They're the hard version of the Eye of Cthulhu, essentially. There are 2 of them. I want to keep the Ichor debuff for as long as I can. One of them shoots cursed flames, the other shoots lasers. And they're incredibly fast and have some rather annoying tracking behavior on higher difficulties. Those lasers are the worst. They might not look that bad, but they really are. I also neglected to ever mention before, but there's reason to keep summon weapons on your hotbar, because I'm pretty sure you can use the staff to right-click and tell your summons what to target. Which is pretty nice, but the whip does the same thing, so I don't feel it necessary anymore. Before whips were a thing, you used non-summon weapons in tandem with your summons, but then they overhauled summoner, and yeah. Now, soon enough, Spasmatism here is going to go into phase 2, which means it's kind of like the Eye of Cthulhu's phase 2. You can see. Except when idle, oh man. They really melt your life. It's important to know when Spasmatism stops. I have lost all confidence in my ability to win here. Stops charging so that the flamethrower doesn't immediately start melting your life. Those lasers are so terrible. And I couldn't get away. Charging behavior is very common among Terraria bosses, even in mods, unfortunately. If you make the enemy fast enough and track the player hard enough before it charges, that alone just makes the boss fight difficult. Okay, so I still feel underprepared. My armor could be better. My buffs are good is the thing. I could have played better. That is true. What other weapon? There's a buff that could give me an extra max summon. Wait a minute, it's nighttime. Do I remember correctly that the witch doctor? No, not yet, I guess. He does sell bewitching tables. I guess if you run out, if you trash all of them. Oh, I can do the mystic frog thing, which is just to purify it, and you get another town slime. It is kind of fun to collect these things, I will admit. Well, at least I beat Queen Slime. Why am I at a complete loss of how to proceed from here? Maybe I could just wait it out for the forbidden armor. I don't even know if the forbidden armor is that good as the thing. Here's a completely different thought. I believe they added summoner headpieces to the armor sets made of the hard mode ores. Or so I thought. Maybe not. Huh. Because I could have sworn that was a thing. Or was it other specific later game armor sets that didn't have summoner headpieces, so they were kind of just worthless, and you were stuck with, say, spider armor or forbidden armor? This is new stuff, which is why. Like, it was done in this update, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, the way Spasmatism can just stay on top of you the entire time, which is more of a problem on higher difficulty because I'm pretty sure they're a bit faster. Not the most fun. Oh, and Spasmatism's lasers are another example of what I was talking about with higher difficulty mods changing how that attack works, because it's actual nonsense with the way movement works in Terraria. I remember getting incredibly angry on one playthrough when I was trying to beat the twins, and I just kept getting sniped by the lasers perfectly. Like, nothing else in the fight matters, the lasers would just kill me inevitably. That's funny, there is a different modifier that gives you more stats than just armor penetration. So is it on a per item basis which modifier the game considers to be the best? Maybe. Well, I don't know if there's anything I can even start doing in the time there is left, and this felt kind of meandering. Well, maybe I could finish my explanation on the Hallow base. There's an NPC I'm quite fond of in concept who will show up way later. Ah, there are the fairies. I think one of those colors I don't have. And I'm compelled enough to give that NPC an actually decent home, which is why I made all this. Later I'll find bottles and glasses to make the tavern look a bit better. And like I said, more gold furniture would be nice. I'm going to kick the tax collector out of here as soon as I purify enough of the tundra. So let me see, which fairies do I have? Pink and blue. So I'll make the green one. Captain Morgan. There we are. I could do a fishing quest for the angler, but why am I going there? Anyway. Getting quite distracted for no particular reason. I think it's decent to have the fairies in here. Maybe a fairy even suits the wizard if I can find a good enough place for it. These are pearl wood platforms, and I want to be consistent with that. There could be a fairy in there as well. There we go. I think this is all sensical enough. I just want to add some appropriate paintings here later. But cross that bridge when we get there, I think. I will try to beat the Dreadnautilus. I just need to be better about dodging the projectiles from the ads. My damage was good enough. I don't know if my DPS is actually better with the blade staff. If I use the DPS meter and you can make training dummies, it's something I've neglected thus far. But with the sickle you can collect hay, and with the hay and wood you can make training dummies. I guess I could do that. It's something, but I'll have to switch that off. I think this is the only real purpose of this, which is a little strange. Why do I need to buy a sickle? I guess hay is a necessary component of training dummies, but still. I look forward to listening back to this and seeing if I need to change my... There's another one of those accessories. But to change my in-game audio so that the blade staff doesn't drown me out. Oh yeah, I didn't use my buff stations. Boy, this part's full of failure, isn't it? Now, where the hell is the training dummy? It should be here. Maybe somewhere near where the mannequins are, yeah. Or the target dummy, rather. I guess I could make another... no, I could just place the target dummy somewhere in the forest here. And the DPS meter I left in a chest. Yep. So this would be a way for me to test it. Oh, that's right, though. Oh, another thing I remembered from mods. One of my favorite mods, among many other small things, gives you a target dummy that's actually an enemy so that your summons can target it. Right now I can only test the DPS of my damn whip. Well, isn't that just great? Well, never mind then. Okay, that was just something I thought of. Eventually, after some deliberation on my own, which I definitely need, because I've just sort of been paralyzed this part thinking how to proceed. Hopefully I'll be more confident and we'll finally see more progress than just a single easy boss beaten in a fairly cheesy way. Thank you for watching.